You would have to be completely clueless, oblivious, or just don't want to see the fact that manhood is under attack. Yes, it is. No matter how you slice it, every direction you look, especially when it comes to culture and media, manhood is under attack. The real question is why? This is the Word Podcast, episode 202, and I want to talk about why manhood is under attack. So I'm going to take us to a set of scripture here, and we're gonna read through it, and I'm going to show you something that the Lord revealed to me. And once this was revealed to me, I start to understand why manhood is under attack. Now, before we do that, you have to come to terms with the fact that what is manhood? Is it just being male? Or is there a set of attributes uh, and philosophies and attitudes and mindset associated with that? That is the key to the entire thing. And then we got to understand the reasoning behind it. Why? Because everything, if you believe in a personal creator that is completely in tune with his creation and he's sovereign above all, then you got to think to yourself, everything is done for a reason by its design. And so sin is a departure from that, right? It's missing the mark of that. It's a deviation of that. And so you have varying levels of sin, right? You can have extremely trying to deviate and those that barely miss, almost like missing a punch, just slipping a punch or something. All right. So the passage we're going to look at is in James chapter 1, verse 21 through 27. I'm going to read it slow. I'm going to emphasize some things. You're going to see that there is words that you've heard before. But then as we come towards the end, it's going to take a sharp turn, right? It's going to take a sharp turn and it's going to kind of hit you like a left hook out of nowhere. And you're going to have to ask yourself, well, that's weird. Why did that happen? I'm going to ask a couple follow-up questions and then I'm going to unpack it. So stay with me. I think you'll get some serious insight into why manhood is under attack. All right. James chapter 1, verse 21 through 27. Therefore, lay aside all filthiness and overflow of wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls. But be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror. For he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. But he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, and is not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this one will be blessed in what he does. If anyone among you thinks he's religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this one's religion is useless. Pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. Well, that was the left hook. So we're talking about being a doer of the word and not a hearer only, and deceiving ourselves and looking in the perfect law of liberty and then walking away and not walking away and continuing in it. And then all of a sudden, pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this. Get ready. What does pure and undefiled religion look like? Think about what you conceptualize as pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father. What does that look like? Here we go. To visit orphans and widows in their trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. Okay. So I know that religion is like a negative term now, but really religion is one's way of worshiping God, a personal God. So religion is not bad. I think being religiosity is bad, but I think religion is not bad. I think it's just kind of getting a bad rap as far as the word's concerned. But let's just change the word for a minute, not because I'm trying to change the Bible or anything, just so we have a better understanding. Pure and undefiled relationship before God and the Father is this. Is that better? Okay, so to visit orphans and widows in their time of trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. So that's being a doer of the word? That's doing the work? That's not deceiving yourselves? Because that's how it culminates. That section of verses culminates in to visit orphans and widows in their time of trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. Now, the unspotted from the world part makes sense to me. I mean, that seems like, has kind of a spiritual, religious, especially Christian concept to it. But to visit orphans and widows, I mean, I'm not saying don't visit them. But what I'm saying is, as far as like, this is going to define religion to you, this is going to be pure and undefiled, pure and undefiled. Is this a mistake? Should have been to take care of the homeless, to feed the poor, to come to the defense of the disenfranchised and to share the gospel. I mean, I thought that one would have been huge. But to visit orphans and widows in their time of trouble. Now, here's the thing. So, a little bit of research here, try to understand the words because you got to think, is this a mistake? Were these the words meant to be used? We can find out that the word orphan there is really should be translate fatherless, not orphan, because orphans means they don't have mother or father. But this word is very particular. It says fatherless, those that don't have a father. And we know that a widow, it's not a widower. A widow is a woman who does not have a husband anymore. She's lost her husband. Well, why are those two things so important to this verse? And why is that pure and undefiled religion to take care of these folks, to visit them in their time of trouble? Because if you're visiting them in their time of trouble, you're doing it because they're in need of something. So, what does a fatherless person need? And what does a husbandless person need? A husband and a father. Interesting. So, those are the two highest offices of manhood and humanity. How are they not? The two highest offices that men occupy on this earth is father and husband. Those are the two things most attacked by the media. Look at our society. Look at our society. Fatherhood and husbandhood, if that's a word, are under attack. The highest offices. Now, why is that important? Okay, maybe you're right, George. Maybe you're right. Maybe that is how it is. But why? And why is that pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father? Because that's who He is. You see, if the enemy can attack the concept of father and husband in such a way as to distort it, then when God defines Himself as the ultimate father and the husband to His people, to His bride, the church, now the concept of God is undermined, therefore usurping His glory, changing it in people's minds. I mean, think about it. If you've never had a father, or if you did have a father and that father was abusive, manipulative, negative, a dumbass who all he cared about was himself and being selfish and watching sports and, building his body or checking out porn or whatever it is, he doesn't care about his kids. He abandons them at the first sight of something. And then you go tell that person, hey, man, God's a loving father. Do you think that person has a concept of that? Oh, they do, all right. It ain't the one that we're wanting. And so the culmination of following this passages is what? To be a better father, at least conceptually, even if you don't have kids, conceptually, and to be a better husband, at least conceptually, because God's a husband. How can you tell a woman who her husband's cheated on her, beat her, abused her, do all these horrible things to her, or she looks at him as like he's an idiot, a goofball, that God is a loving husband to His people? He takes care of His people. He provides for them, protects them, has a vision for their future. How do you tell them that? The concept of husband's like, doesn't match up. So now you understand why those two positions and manhood in general is under attack, because you've got to kill the concept of it. Because if you do that, the enemy knows, and we're talking about supernatural, spiritual influence in the world. If you do that, then you can attack God indirectly and ultimately directly. So what's more vital? To undermine this attack, or just let it slide, let it keep going, or to build in the opposite direction, to teach men and women and children the concept of what true fatherhood, true husbandhood looks like, because it's a reflection of the nature, personality, essence of God. And that is religion. And how do you do that? By being that to everyone. Because let's be honest, at every point in our life, for the most part, we're going to experience the loss of a father and a husband. And so therefore, to love one another is to step into that void, to be a person that can step into that void for one another and express that love, express that unity of things, because that is the nuclear family. That's why the nuclear family is under attack, because that is how God has conceptualized Himself and His relationship to us in this world. And if you can destroy that, you can start to try to undermine God. But we know that he wins the game. It's frivolous, but doesn't stop them from trying. And that's what they're doing. So see them for what they're doing. Understand your enemy. Understand yourself, and you'll win 100% of the battles. All right, God be with you. Stay in the fight. You are a warrior. Be a husband and father, just like Christ, just like the Father, just like God is husband and father to his people. All right, stay in the fight. God be with you. Peace. I'm out.